Alana, thank you for taking the time to come this early morning. You said it's not very, very Caribbean of you to get up this early.
No.
Right. Just so all of you know, it's 7:30 in the morning, and I do a lot of my podcasts very, very early. But Alana so kindly graced me in coming this early, came earlier than you're supposed to be. It's beautiful.
That is beautiful, and it is quite rare.
Yeah, you said your husband was going to give you an award for coming here, for getting up this early?
Exactly.
What time did you have to get up to come?
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock?
I mean, you know that normally in local areas you have the Obashan and the Classons getting up at 5 o'clock, so it's by no amazing feat by any means, but for me, 5 o'clock, if it's not like a juve or some kind of party,
then you might be there.
Exactly.
So what time do you usually get up?
I'm like a 7. Usually
7?
My husband gets up first, and I wait until he gets up and gets the coffee going, and then I get up. So I see 7:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what time do you usually go to sleep?
Very early.
Do you really?
Yeah, I'm like a lion in that sense. I do like 9:30.
That's early for you?
Yeah, that's early.
Because I go to bed. Once I think last night it was 9:30, but usually I go to bed at 8:30.
Very good. What time do you get up?
2:30 or 3.
You see.
Yeah. The reason why I do that is because then I get to walk for a while,
okay.
and then I come back. And I love the fact that most people aren't up.
Yeah.
There's
That
something
quiet
about that.
time, yeah.
But everyone has their cycle.
Yeah, exactly.
I tried for the longest to get my wife to be on my cycle, and it was an endless battle. There's no way it was going to work. And yeah, you think you're going to make it the way. I don't know. I'm glad we were international marriage, because had we not been, I think I would have been not with her, because I would think, why would you, as the same nationality, not be doing what I expect you to do?
Yeah. And that's a good point, because Michelle is French, right? I'm from the Caribbean, I'm from Trinidad, and I'm Canadian as well. So international marriage, I thought we can talk a lot about that.
Did you grow up speaking French?
No. In Trinidad we speak English, but we have to learn French and Spanish from junior high.
Oh, you
high
had
school.
to learn it?
Yeah, that was part of the curriculum.
Okay.
Yeah.
But isn't your French a little bit, you have more of a patois to it, right?
Yeah. So my parents, for example, my parents and my grandparents, they would speak patois, like the Creole patois. Okay. Because if you look at my family, kind of tree, you see like the Dubois and Olivier, Remy, and so it's very, very French. Right. But if you look at the family picture, especially on my mom's side, you have Chinese, you have Indian.
That's right. There's so many Chinese went to the Caribbean.
Yeah. So we have a whole bunch. It's like United Nations in the family. So that kind of, it's normal, that kind of reality, that kind of international kind of feel is always.
How many siblings do you have?
Older brother, who's in Canada, and that's it.
How many years difference?
6 years. So I was a baby. Yeah.
So were you guys close? Or did you become close?
Yeah, I guess when we were growing up, because he was my big brother, and I remember the first time I was going into elementary school, like the very first time, I'm 6 years old, crying, because and then I want my brother. So the teacher said, yeah, I'll go and get him. Don't worry, I'll go and get him, because his school wasn't so far.
Okay, right.
So I'll go get him. And I said, and I stopped crying. And big brother was always there, But as you grow older, of course your life change and things like that. But as kids, we were really close, yeah.
So what were you like as a little girl? Were you more academic or were you more sports-minded?
I think I was more academic.
Really?
More academic, yeah. I mean, I didn't like to, like PE classes. I wasn't so great with PE. I was horrible at cricket, netball. Netball, I don't know if you know, it's like...
I know the game. But wait, I'm talking about elementary. I mean, elementary school. You didn't have netball then,
Netball we didn't do. We just did running.
You did running and hopscotch and stuff like that, right?
Like that. And the running I could handle. I remember running, but I couldn't break in time, so I was like hitting the wall.
You have to be kidding me. Wait, just a minute.
I was really... I was kind of clumsy. I was kind of clumsy.
You could run. You see the wall, but you couldn't stop it.
I was like break.
Here's something. Did you learn to ride a bicycle when you were young?
No. So when did I learn to ride a bicycle?
Yeah, wait, but
here
you can ride
in Japan.
one now.
Here,
Wait just a
as
minute.
As an adult.
Wait, were your parents very religious or anything?
No, not at all. Not at all. My brother was riding his bicycle. Everybody was riding bicycle.
Okay. Because you know, there's a story I heard about that. The reason why I asked that is because I know some Koreans.
Yeah.
I had a Korean friend. She said she wasn't allowed to ride because they thought that would stop her from being pure.
Oh Lord.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just riding a bike, and I thought, okay.
Yeah, like ride a horse or something.
Right. Yeah, wait. The same thing. I don't think they'd let her ride a horse either.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get you.
that could be interesting.
Yeah. No,
Anyway, so growing up, you weren't sports minded.
not really.
Right.
I
Not
like to
really.
watch sports. I like to watch it, no problem.
You're kind of like me. What about you? What kind of work did your father do?
He used to work at, he did a few jobs, but the one that I remember most, especially in elementary school, was when he was working as an architect, a draftsman. So he would basically do the plans for the architect. So that's what I remember.
Your mother?
Yeah, and my mom worked for the Trinidad and Tobago Blind Welfare Association. So she started off as an accountant clerk and then worked her way up to the executive director.
Can she sign?
She wasn't blind at all. She
I
was
know,
quite
but did she know how to
sighted.
sign?
She didn't know how to sign.
Okay, because I figured being around them, she'd learn how to sign.
Yeah, but
Wait,
blind.
No, blind. I'm thinking about speechless.
But blind. But there were blind deaf, so you didn't.
Blind deaf, right.
Yeah, but at the time there was only.
Yeah, she wouldn't have to sign. What am I talking about? I'm going to take that out.
Blind, but there is blind deaf where they feel. So you sign and they can feel.
Oh, that's different, yeah.
Yeah, blind deaf.
Okay.
They're both.
Well, thank you for helping me out.
Yeah,
They have the death thing going on. That's so wrong. That's so wrong. Okay, anyway. So growing up, so you're a happy child. You were a happy child growing up.
I was a happy child.
You were a happy child. You were having a good time.
Exactly.
So when you got into junior high school, when you started to become your own, what did you start to focus on? But you liked to read from a little kid.
Yeah.
What kind of books? What did you like?
I used to read, the Enid Blyton. I don't know if you know that. Famous Five, Hardy kind of. I don't know how
This is all nonfiction, right?
These are all nonfiction. Okay. so at the time, everybody was doing the famous.
Fantasy and stuff, yeah.
I can't remember. It was something. No, not Agatha Christie. That was later on. There was a television series about them. I can't remember the name now, but all about the mysteries and kids basically at school. So think of it like how they have the Harry Potter series. So it was that kind of
thing, yeah. Where you could really get involved in it.
Yeah, I really loved it. And I remember just, my parents would buy me for Christmas or birthday or whatever, and I would be devouring the book and stuff like that.
Did you have any character in there that you liked being?
Not really. You just like the whole story behind it. And then also I was into, of course, television, because television, we had...
What kind of TV did you get?
Elementary school, we had black and white, so you had to kind of hit it because the antenna was...
Ours was a close hanger. Anyway.
You know what I'm saying. And then we had the radio. So the radio also, was really important.
What year are we talking about now?
Yeah, you're talking about 70s.
In the 70s, okay.
60s,
it was kind of late to get there, then.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, up in the islands, I understand.
Yeah, know what you say.
Yeah, I was there.
Sesame Street, when they first came out, I was in front of that television.
But who wasn't?
I loved it.
Such a good show.
Yeah.
For once they were talking to people and teaching you something.
Exactly. I loved it. And I think that introduced me to music and, just rhythm and all kind of thing. But I think rhythm was always there. Music was always there.
Yes.
Again, with the radio, we would hear because we're in the islands, so you could hear French radio, you could hear Spanish radio, you could hear, of course, English radio. So we got all of that kind of intonation and that kind of, I don't know, vivacity, I don't know how you say it, but so I think that probably, and then again, carnival, and so everything was, there's always a rhythm to it,
right.
Rhythm to the way you walk, the way you talk, so.
You felt that?
Yeah. And I guess I see it now more growing older, being out of it and seeing the Caribbean-ness. Now I can understand what that means. But yeah, I mean, so what kind of music? I think all kind of music I used to listen to, from Spanish, French to classical to reggae to calypso, soca, all of that. We would,
So
R&B.
Your major language, I mean, your basic language was English.
Yeah.
But still, it's a version of it.
Yeah, it's a version of it.
It has the Caribbean flair to it.
Exactly.
So you can say things that people that speak, let's say, British English or American English wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
Such as?
Yeah. So we would, you tone up or tone down. That's the thing that I heard from Rihanna, because Rihanna's from Barbados, yeah?
Okay, right.
Nicki Minaj is Trinidad. So that's
your place.
Yeah, that's
Trinidad.
our place, yeah. So we tone up or tone down. So it depends on, like, if you want me to change how I would speak.
Right.
So, man, what's going on? You understand that, right?
No, wait, say it again. Do it again.
Man, what's going on?
Man, wait, no.
No, what's going on? What's going on?
Man, wait, no.
Well, man, what's going on? How you going?
All right.
That's it.
Is that toning down?
That's toning. For me, it's toning up. Toning
up,
down is for you to understand. So, code switch, I guess, is another thing that people say. So you code switch.
Right. But they do that. I think
everybody does it.
Okay.
Everybody does it. But for us, it's really, putting the accent and putting the words and then changing a little bit. And that's what I would say tone up. And then tone down is to come, let's make it so that everyone can understand it's television kind of thing,
right.
Television English or whatever.
So when you're really going, do you ever do that? Have you ever had a chance to do that?
What, television?
No, to tone up, tone down. Like when you have some.
Of course, when I'm talking on the phone, for example.
Okay.
And you will know who I'm talking to by
how you're speaking.
By how I'm speaking on the phone.
Can your husband understand?
A little bit. He just knows she's talking to somebody from back home.
He doesn't. He we have no idea what the conversation is.
I'm not even listening, but it's somebody back home. So yeah, we switch. It's I don't know. It's funny. I could do it with you, but
right,
yeah.
So your husband speaks how many languages?
He speaks 4. English, well, French is his native. Italian, Spanish, and you're Japanese, so you're 5, I guess.
Okay,
yeah.
and you?
I speak 4. So Spanish, French, English, but it depends on the day, yeah? And then some Japanese. Depends on the day.
So from junior high school, then you loved academics. What, any particular subject you really liked?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Junior high school, I kind of wanted to do, I liked everything really in junior high school. And then I liked...
Except sports.
Except sports. And art, I wasn't so good. I thought I was a good artist, but my teacher didn't. We did music. I remember in music we had pans, steel pans, because that was a music class, which was an excellent way to get us into the traditional kind of instrument. So it wasn't flute or anything, no recorder, it was pans. You used to give our teacher a headache, but that was really good. And I think math to a certain extent, English literature. I remember liking Shakespeare the first time I heard it.
You liked it?
Yeah, I liked it. And I think it was the teacher. It's all about the teacher, right?
Isn't that the truth?
It's all about the teacher.
Isn't that the truth? It could be something you really love. You get the wrong teacher, all of a sudden you don't like it anymore.
Exactly. So she kind of brought it to life.
That was beautiful.
And then English and French we were doing, so I liked the languages as well. Chemistry, biology, science, it depended. But yeah.
Again on the teacher.
Really and truly, the teacher make it or break it. And sometimes you might like the thing, you may not be good at it, but you just like it. Suddenly their passion is contagious, and that makes you excited, So yeah, it really does.
As we get older, I think we start to realize the subjects that we would feel like art, for example.
Yeah.
You probably were a good artist. You didn't have a good art teacher.
Maybe.
That didn't see it. You understand what I'm saying?
Because
she didn't see it. Because someone who loves art doesn't criticize. The better you are at something, the more you know other people really can do it.
Yeah.
It's how passionate you make them about it.
Yeah.
But people that aren't that good will always find something critical to say.
I think for her, for that art teacher, she had a very fixed idea of what the art should look like, right?
Like I said, yeah.
And for me, I was in my own thing, my own world. So I don't blame her.
It should be. Writers, it's art.
Yeah.
In art, you do your thing. That's how you express yourself.
Yeah.
Through art.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's true.
That's beautiful. So, what else did you do outside of that in art?
Then later on, so like at Trinidad, we have junior high and high together. It's all in one school, so you do 6 years.
Oh, 6 years, okay.
Yeah.
Starting from the, what is it, 8th grade? 8,
Well, it's
9,
British.
10, 11, 12.
British
so
system.
maybe 7th then.
I
You
have
start from
no
7th.
idea.
Because I think
Form 1.
elementary you do, so elementary is just one, that's K through 6.
Yeah.
Then you do 7 through 8. It's
Right.
all high school, junior high.
Yeah, I
That's what
think
that-
so.
Okay, so that's your way.
Okay. Form
All
1
right.
to Form 6. Don't know what it is.
Right.
So Form 1 to Form 3 is junior high,
Okay.
and then Form 4 to Form 6. Now, this was my particular school. I mean, now you
Was
have...
it a private school or was
No,
it a girls' school?
it's a girls' school, and not private. It's called Holy Name Convent.
It's a Catholic school.
Yeah, that's right. Holy Name Convent Secondary School. That's right. And the Catholic girls are the worst, let me tell you.
I know that. Everyone knows that. They find that out real quick. They're the ones that talk all the smack.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
They have no inhibitions. Because they're not around little boys. It makes sense to them. They're not around boys, so they fantasize. They imagine. They make up stuff that you go, what?
Yeah. And it was really, I feel for people now because every time there would be a male teacher walking in, the whole school would have been looking in the courtyard like, ugh.
Did you have nuns and habits?
Yes, we had nuns and habits. We also had Jackson 5 come and visit.
No, you did not.
Hello.
No, come on.
Yes.
And did you get to see them? I mean, you saw them?
Yeah, but Michael and the brothers.
You saw the brothers?
Yes. And we were like, and so you could imagine all girls school, eh?
What grade were you in? What grade were you in?
It was Form 4, so that would be grade maybe 10, 11, 12. So maybe grade 10.
So you were pretty big. So you were maybe like 13, 14 or something like that?
Yeah.
And you saw the Jackson 5 come in.
I remember. They had come for a concert. I think it was one of the, ending part of that.
Right.
But it was really good, yeah. I guess the promoter probably was...
And they were really hot then too, weren't they?
Could imagine, Jam. I mean, like... But I was lucky. I mean, we saw lots of people. Like, I was lucky because I saw Ray Charles in concert, Jose Feliciano in concert. And again, they were just coming. I guess it was on the, I don't know, maybe it was part of world tour. I don't know what happened, but
And people are different on the island anyway. They get excited, but they have control.
Yeah.
They won't do anything to make you feel bad about what you're doing. So you can still get out among the people and enjoy it.
Exactly, yeah.
So I think they come there just to kind of gear down before they get to where it's scary again.
Yeah, I think you're right.
You know what I mean?
You're right, yeah.
They have to go back to mainland. Now
Yeah.
you have to get security. It's a whole different story.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
So
and they get something, to realize that people really are good.
Yeah.
I think they go to the islands to find out what our true nature is.
Yeah.
The further apart we are, the more we're at each other's throat.
Yeah.
But if we're together, if you're on an island, just that alone, knowing that there's only so much space.
Exactly.
And if there's a big tidal wave, it's going to get everybody.
Exactly.
So you never feel alone.
Exactly.
Whatever's happening to me, it's happening to
everybody
in here.
Exactly. That's true. That's true.
It changes your whole mindset.
Yeah, that's very true. That's a good point. But, when you think about it, do you think it's the same here in Japan?
Yes.
Yeah, right?
Because what they did was something unique to the world.
Yeah.
They isolated themselves for over 200 years.
Yeah, that's true.
And convinced everyone, people that don't even look alike, that they were one group of people.
Yeah.
Then they said, okay, we're ready.
Yeah.
But nobody made them do it. If they wanted to, they kept everyone on for 200 years. They watched but they had all of their elites getting information.
Yeah.
So they knew the Civil War was going on in the U.S. They knew it was happening.
Yeah.
And they were wondering if it would affect them, how it would.
Yeah.
They were positioning themselves always.
Yeah.
They did something very unique.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And they're still that way. Basically, I came here at a time when they had still convinced everybody that Japanese was an impossible language to learn. And if you did learn it, you'd never learn to read and write it. The Australians busted that out of the water. They came over here. Because what they actually did, they started teaching in their schools. As soon as the Japanese started purchases and everything, because they figured for business reasons if nothing else.
Yeah.
Then those kids came over here and started winning all kind of contests, sounding better than the guys on TV, sounding better than Japanese.
Yeah.
Then it made it, once you make it possible, then now people pick it up in a year.
Yeah.
And make me feel bad. I've been here for almost 50 years. And they come over here and literally, honestly, in a year, with the information they have, the videos and stuff, boom, they got it and they're out on the streets.
Yeah.
But that broke the Japanese back because they wanted to think no one's ever going to learn this language. They thought they had the best language. No one's going to learn. Boy, little Australian kids came over here and just rocked the house.
Yeah.
Then you had people from Iran came over, then the Africans came over, and everyone's just speaking. It's like French.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
People expect you, in France, of course, they expect you to speak it. They look at you kind of shaming, like, that's too sad. Why wouldn't you be able? You need some help? You need a stick or something? Because if you can't speak, you must have able to see what's the matter with you.
It's true. It's very true.
They were kind to me. But why was it when I went to France, they were so kind to me?
Yeah.
I took 2 trips around the world, and I remember coming in to France. I landed in France, and they'd say, "Parlez-vous français?" And I'd say, "No." And they'd speak to me in English.
Yeah.
And someone told me it's probably the way my stance was, the way I handled myself.
And plus, you didn't go to them and say, "Do you speak English?" That's
no, I would never do that.
Oh. So do you speak it? And why you don't speak English?
You're right, no. So I would never, come on.
I think that was it.
I don't know if they have guns there. I know in my country they shoot us for stuff like that. No.
So I think that's what it is, how you approach.
How you approach them, and they can feel your vibration too.
Yeah, for sure.
They can tell, is this person coming here trying to be arrogant? Yes. Or are they really honestly seeking information?
Exactly.
And people would say, the French I found were very similar to the Japanese in this respect. When I first came here, all the Japanese would say ware ware.
Yeah.
We.
Yeah.
They never would say watashi.
Yeah.
They never spoke in the singular. They always spoke in the plural.
Yeah.
France was the same way. We think she's so beautiful, the Eiffel Tower. And we think, everything was we. Really, it was.
You sure they were saying we or yes?
Maybe they were saying yes. See, it's because I didn't understand. They were saying yes.
Yes, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. This is what they were saying. I'm thinking they're saying we. They were saying we, but it wasn't the we I'm thinking about. That's good. A good point. I didn't realize that. So they weren't like the Japanese.
But they have a thing. They do say oh. So that kind of what yeah. Oh.
Really?
Yeah, we or.
No, they were saying we.
Yeah, well, that is yes.
They were saying yes. I love these podcasts because I learned something every single one. All this time, I really thought the French was saying, "We think she's so beautiful."
Yeah, we.
It's too early for me to. Maybe I should have gotten some coffee. Okay, so you finished high school, but what were you focusing on when you were in high school?
High school was science, so so I did. We had, you had to choose which stream you want to go to. So I had languages, science, or social sciences, and I wanted to do languages and science, but it wasn't possible at the time. So I had to choose one language, French or Spanish, and then the sciences. So I decided to go with French and sciences. So we had to do its O levels. So O levels is like the British.
I know that.
And then after O levels, you have 2 years and you do A levels, and then you move on to high school. And for me, I did my O levels, then did 1 year to prepare for the A levels, and left in the middle of that term to go to Canada.
Why?
I think at that point maybe it's a good question. Why? Opportunity.
But had you ever traveled outside of?
Oh yeah,
Canada? Where'd you go?
The States. That's
Florida,
outside. Brooklyn.
Still East Coast.
That's right. Brooklyn. Brooklyn.
Where were your mom and dad from? They were from Trinidad.
They're from Trinidad, but everybody.
No, but they had to be from some. Wait. But there's a mixture there because everybody was, everybody mixed up.
Everybody mixed up. Everybody mixed
Everyone's mixed up. Did you trace it any direction?
No, we never did.
Mother's side.
We never did a family tree, but you hear all kind of thing.
But your parents, were they your complexion, your brother's complexion?
Yeah, they're like.
We go there, but you don't understand.
Yeah.
Black people don't understand black people. We have divisions.
I know.
We have some that are like, not my hair color, your hair color, dark, and then we have some that only we know they have black blood.
Yes, I know you know. You know I know.
I know you know. Because we're in between.
Yeah.
This complexion used to make me feel so sad. You know why?
Why?
When I was growing up in America, when I was growing up in California, I wasn't light enough. All the black girls, like the light guys, the barge, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Michael, before he became, they wanted that, and the guys with the curlier hair.
Yeah.
Not such tight hair. Then it flipped.
Yeah.
and you had to look like Wesley Snipes or James Brown. You had to be that dark. When's the Caramel brother gonna get a chance? When's the Caramel brother gonna get a chance?
No, it wasn't that. It was, at least I don't think it
for
was.
For girls, it's okay. For girls, it's okay. But for a guy,
yeah, I hear you.
See, because you'd be considered light.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't.
You're
know.
okay.
Yeah.
But for me, shoot, the girls didn't want me. They didn't. No, I wasn't light. Yeah, I was too dark because I wasn't light enough.
Yeah.
And then I was too light because I wasn't dark enough.
So what you doing?
What I'm doing? Color.
What you gonna
Caramel
do?
color brother. Yeah.
What you gonna do? Now, I don't think we had.
Your brother, your complexion. Your brother's your complexion.
Like your complexion.
Really?
So I mean, even with if you look at my mom's family, like her grandmother and you had from light to dark. You had all the. So we.
And nobody bothered to check.
No.
To see who's who.
It's all light to dark.
Because you had some Chinese in there
exactly.
too. Friend of mine over here, my complexion a little bit darker. Last name was Wu.
Yeah. I could
imagine. And I said, where are you from? He's from the islands. Yeah, what next? And I said, whoa. And he showed me his father. I said, no, what, Juga?
Yeah, that's right.
And I got to hear him speak. Jamaican all the way. I went, see, that's really interesting. I love it.
Yeah.
They did a commercial once on TV. I think it was for one of the telephone companies. And they had all these different people. All of them had different accents.
Yeah.
But they didn't look like
they should have that accent, right? Yeah, yeah.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, I love that. I really love the unexpected, right?
Yes.
I really love that. And I think that is something, I mean, I grew up with it, so it's normal, you know? But, you know, as you come out of
you
that,
start realizing how
special it was, you know, and how I wish we could kind of take that, you know, outside and make it.
Don't you think we're doing it now with
I think
the
slowly.
fact that we can communicate easier?
Yeah, I think so.
We're not surprised so easily now.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's caused this gender thing where they're saying there's 100 different genders.
Oh.
See, I think we take it a little bit too far.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know about it yet.
I was saying something the other day that I think that what's going to happen, okay, every single part of our body can be replaced now, except for our brain.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that can't be replaced.
Mm-hmm.
So there's one person that made themselves look like a cat, and I heard they just committed suicide.
Oh,
but we can do it.
Yes.
We can change our eyes to be different colors.
Yeah.
We can make our ears point like in the space things.
Yeah, yeah. Like
and I mean, it will last.
Yeah.
We can make our fingers longer. We can do all this. So I can see that happening in the future.
That we will change because of, you know.
Because what
customize.
We can customize ourselves. So I say I want my arms to reach to my knees.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah. Is that a good thing? I don't know. That's.
But we always tend to want to say, people. Have you heard this before? They say, no one likes change unless they're the ones making
it. Sure. They want to have that choice, right?
So I put it there. What?
Yeah. It's a good point.
You know?
Yeah, it's a good point. And it's like, I have the right to put it there.
Right.
I have the right to change.
Yeah.
But I think if we could, you know, there's some things if you could do, you know, obviously you could do it. Doesn't mean it's the best thing to do.
I think that's why that guy took his life after he said being a cat wasn't worth it.
Jesus. I hadn't heard that. I had not seen that.
Yeah, somebody did something like that. And I hear, but I don't know if it's people that just want that to happen to people like that, if it's true or not.
Yeah.
Because I heard that the suicide rate for people that have changed their gender has been very high.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of psychological support that's needed and not necessarily there.
How could it be?
Yeah.
Especially if they had a parent or something to encourage them to be that way, because it makes them look like they're woke or whatever they're supposed to be.
Yeah. I think it's a tough one. I think it's a really tough one. I know I have a couple of, one friend of mine who actually transitioned. I knew her.
It's a him?
Her to him. So she was we went to high school together. Junior high school. So I think it was very difficult for her to make the transition.
What do you mean she really transitioned physically too?
Physically as well.
She did all of it?
Yeah, she did all of it.
And she's still okay?
States. Yeah, she's fine. Lives in the States, and I think...
Does she have a wife?
Yeah.
Did the wife have kids?
I don't think so.
Because I saw on TV, Netflix, someone did the same thing. The woman transferred, became a man, got the beard and everything, married a woman. She couldn't have kids, so she decided to.
Yeah. I don't know. I leave it because I know from high school, from junior high, so I understand. and I could understand the difficulty and how it was for this a friend of mine. So
you saw her struggling with her sexuality
identity
when she was young. Always.
So,
did she have siblings?
Yeah, and she was the second to last. So there was 6, I think, in the family.
And they're both sexes in the family?
Yeah. So that was her. That was just
her journey.
That was her journey. That was her journey. So, now that, and I think it's maybe hard for her to come back to the past, who she was, and be able to, for people to accept her as the way she is now, So I kind of understand, I kind of understand that. I try not to judge or anything like that. So people are on their own journeys. You're kind to people because you just don't know what people dealing with, So.
That's true. I think that's something else I found from being on the islands. I don't know which one. I was on St. Thomas, and the acceptance that the people learn to get.
Yeah.
First of all, with themselves.
Yeah.
And then I think only through accepting yourself can you start to truly accept others.
I think so.
And let them have their journey, because you don't feel offended, you don't feel threatened, because you know who you are and what you like.
That's a good point. And that thing about identity, I mean, I never thought about identity as such. I mean, when I went to Canada, I remember, going into the store very first year and, talking to people and saying, I'd like to, I think I was asking for a bag or something. It was the first time that somebody said, what are you asking for? I'm speaking English. I'd like a bag. And I guess the accent at the time, and that, they were accustomed to the different accents. So then I realized I had to tone down.
Speak more like TV.
Speak more like TV. And then, okay, all right, so now I understand how I need to be, because for people to understand, I need to be a certain way. And then, as you are in a bigger country and you meet other people from the islands, and you realize that there is this Caribbean identity that is so hard to place, and then so hard to describe, but you just know, you have, and the simple things sometimes. You have soup on Saturdays? Yeah, me too. I had soup on Saturdays growing up. Your mommy said this? Yes, my mommy said. And all of a sudden, it's like, it's like, okay, this is how, and when you hear it from Spanish-speaking Caribbean islands and French-speaking Caribbean islands, it's all kind of the same. It's like, okay, we have some kind of shared experience.
I think they were the commerce was done between those islands.
Yeah, and just physically, geographically distant, right?
Yes.
Really, I mean, unless you get in your boat or whatever.
But that's what they had to do, yeah.
But still, there is something that says, from the colors, from the smile, the way you walk, and then the whole entourage, the whole people around you. There's something that's Caribbeanness, this Caribbean culture, which I really appreciate now. Yes. I really, really appreciate now. And I guess I brought that when we came to Japan. I brought both, the Caribbean and Canada. So I brought both of them. So that Caribbean and Canadian experience as well, brought to that. And then explaining to people, especially we were in Kagoshima. That's our first 5 years in Japan. In Kagoshima, very, very rural area. My husband and I.
Selling the boats?
The one selling the boats. At that point, we came on the Mombusho, which is the JET program. So JET program.
You were already married?
Yeah, no. I came over first, then my husband came over, and then we got married in Japan.
Whoa.
Yeah. So what happened was we met because everybody always asks, how did you guys meet? We met in Toronto.
Because you were going to get to why you decided to go to Canada.
Yeah.
You were right there. What made you want to go? Yeah, why did you?
So Canada, I think it was a time where almost everybody from the islands, if you could, you would either go to the States, Canada, England, France, you just have that opportunity from high school into university. So you do your university and usually come back. That's usually how it would happen. So for us, we chose Canada. My mom had family, and she had friends as well. My father kind of knew, okay, Canada compared to the States, maybe go to Canada.
Fewer guns, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. England was very expensive, and then France, I don't think we had thought about France at all at that time. So, so Canada, we went. Oh, I went. My brother went first because he's older, so he went first. And then I went
to study what? What did he study?
He wanted to study. He didn't know exactly what he wanted to study. He liked music and he liked, lots of things. So he started off with microbiology, and then finally he changed over into music, and then finally, I can't remember what his final thing, he changed a lot.
So what's he doing now?
He works at, what is it? Not investment bank, but a kind of...
hedge fund or something
hedge
like
fund
that?
or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. I think
Your parents still alive?
No, they both passed away.
Oh,
They both passed
how old
away.
were they when they passed?
They were in their 80s.
That's not bad.
Yeah, they were in their 80s, both of them.
They stayed together the whole time?
My mom was in Canada and my dad was in Trinidad.
When I say stay together, I mean, did they divorce?
They were
after?
divorced because you don't divorce.
Oh, you don't divorce? Oh, were they Catholics?
No, I think at that particular
Just
age,
don't
that time.
They did not need it. Yeah.
No need
Not
it.
necessary.
Not necessary.
Just bye-bye.
Yes, I'm going to live with the children.
And your mother was in Canada with you guys?
Yeah, she was in Canada with us. Yeah. And then my dad was.
But they stayed together while you were growing up the whole
Oh
time?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, hello. It's only when the children grown up.
That's right. Then I'm going to do what I need to do.
That's right.
I love you, but
Yes, that's right. Okay. I'll be overseas. I'm overseas. So I mean, again, you learn to accept that.
Were you close to mom and dad?
Yeah. Especially my mom. My mom was really my really
rock,
close. Yeah. And then my dad and I we had really a good, kind of honest relationship. So I would tell him what I was thinking, and he would tell me what he was thinking. But that's kind of cool to be able to do that. And we had great discussions. I mean, it was really good. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Up until what age?
For my dad, probably, I think we became a little bit closer when my mom passed away.
Oh, she passed first?
She passed first.
Okay.
Yeah. And we became closer. And that was that was interesting. I think what both of us needed to be, you know.
Someone,
Yeah. But my dad had his own life. He was a very independent man.
I think people on the islands are.
Yes.
Yes. And anyway, I could go on and on about my feeling, because I really enjoyed the feeling there.
Yeah.
And it helped me to see how I was thinking about myself.
Yeah.
But I love being who I am, and I love the country I come from.
Yeah.
I think that's something you just have to embrace. I feel like I picked it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I wouldn't be where I am if it weren't for the country I was.
Exactly. You're absolutely right. But I think in order to appreciate that, you need to be out of the country, don't you think?
I think so.
Isn't that something?
I used to say that I think America should make it mandatory for everyone by the age of 18 to leave the continental United States for at least a year to understand how much they really have available to themselves.
Yeah.
No one's standing at our library stopping us from coming in. No one's stopping from having internet.
Exactly.
There's so much available. That's why other countries come over and do so well.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat. Yeah, but you can't see it when my father said nobody wants to drink water till the well runs dry.
Yeah, don't worry. We say the same.
You say the same thing. Isn't that
We
something?
say the same thing. You don't miss the water until the well runs dry. Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? Okay, so you decided to go to Canada.
Yeah.
And to study.
Parents said, go to Canada.
Go to
I said,
Canada.
okay, I'm going.
Right.
So I remember having my little suitcase. Well, actually, it was a big suitcase. I was tiny at the time. And started off, so started off studying. The idea was to study data management. So it was like computer science.
Right.
But I could not understand anything. It was Turing at the time.
Okay.
And I don't know. And they were doing mathematics in 3D and then X, Y, Z. And I was like, okay. I didn't understand anything, but the French I understood. So I continued in languages. And I ended up doing modern languages and literature. And then after that, I went into teaching. So I went from, always looking at different steps, what is the next step? So after doing the languages, what else can you do? What other options are open? Never really wanted to go into teaching. So I started working. And I worked, I remember my very first job was at an insurance company. And I think I had to do customer service at the time. So I had to call up people in Quebec. And the accent, and I think it was Quebec or really, really countryside of Quebec. So the accent
So they had their own.
They had their own accent. And I was like,
it was difficult, huh?
Un moment, s'il vous plaît. And I would turn around and ask the Quebec colleague, I don't know what is it. What is it?
This French, I don't
know it. I don't know it.
But Quebec's its own country on its own.
Exactly. So it was a good experience because it made me realize that I need to understand Quebec. I need to go over. I need to meet people.
Did you learn the Quebec French?
I could understand it a little better now.
Okay.
So it took a while. And I didn't stay too long in that customer service thing. I really didn't stay too long. So I moved over to Ministry of Northern Development and Mines. So I started working with them in the library, and then finally working. They had a policy and programming section. So would listen to the debates, parliamentary debates, and see how issues would affect the northern communities. And that was also exciting because I got to meet people who were coming down. So they were like indigenous groups coming down. And they would meet the deputy minister to discuss what was going on in them, usually around mining in that particular area. And I remember, first time I was like, wow, this is Canada. This kind of, it was really, really, really very cool experience. And then I thought, okay, so I had a choice of doing, what do I want to do next? What's, and I thought, okay, well, what opportunities are there really? And there was a chance to actually work at the Universal Expo. So there was an expo that was going to be in Spain. And I saw an ad, and I thought, well, why not? It gives me an opportunity to travel and use a little bit of space.
Had you come back to Trinidad?
No, I was still in Canada.
Still in Canada?
Always in Canada.
Always in Canada?
Yeah, so from the time I left Trinidad, I stayed in Canada.
So how old were you left, 18?
Yeah, 18.
18.
Yeah.
And you never went back?
Never went back to live, obviously, visit. No, never went back to live. And there was a reason for that. I remember the first couple of years I was like, I want to go back home. And then eventually you get used to life. And then eventually you start working. And then eventually you think, okay, maybe it's time to go back. But recession, so jobs are hard to find. Okay, so you stay, and so you start making your life, kind of thing. So that's how it worked. One kind of organically.
Right.
And then became permanent resident, then citizen, and so yeah.
But so now you're a Canadian citizen. Do you still have your Trinidad?
Yeah, we're dual.
Dual,
Citizen.
You say we, because Michael has Trinidad too.
No, meaning my family. So my
my
mom and Michelle is Michael. Michelle is French, 100% French. Yeah, so, and I think the idea with, so I did Trinidad, did Canada, and I wanted to do something else. I think maybe that was why I thought, well, why not try this particular mission to be in the world?
Jet.
Yeah, the world. No, this was even before Jet. So I had lots of lives.
Okay, good. Tell me.
Lots of lives.
All right.
Yeah, Ministry of Northern Development and Mines. Then after that, I went to another ministry, which was called community service. So I worked with a lot of communities that were coming over to Canada because of the war, civil war. So at that time, it was the Sri Lanka. So the Tamil, and so a lot of Sri Lankan families. I had a lot of families from South America as well. Families from, I always remember, from Serb, so Croat Serb. And I remember always meeting this particular one. She really struck me. She came in, and you could see that she was still in shock about what had happened. She'd been a documentalist in the library, National Library. I think it was in Dubrovnik or Sarajevo. I can't remember which one. And she said it just changed overnight. All of a sudden, it was just civil war, just war. So she had to take her nephew with her own kids and kind of escape. And the way in which she described it made me realize that life, peace maybe, is fragile, and that we really should just remember just how precious our stability is. I don't know if that makes sense, but I just always remember her and that way of
because the way she
just things completely changed for her. And she found herself a refugee in Canada, So it was an interesting, for that it was a very interesting experience. So I began learning a little bit about the world and what's happening and understanding how it affects people on a human, human level. And I remember people from, also from Iran, the Kurdish, coming over. And so I learned a lot about the world from these people, it was really an interesting experience. And then I thought, well, I'd want to do something else. So there was the chance to go to Spain to work at the World Exhibition, World Expo, and that in itself was another another experience because you're part of this kind of team, and we were representing Ontario, the prefecture, so or the province. So we had a little bit of a role, and it's a little bit of an ambassador, even though it's a small level, but we were representing, right, and representing plus not only Ontario but this Ontario as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
there is
Ontario is.
Is that where the black people from America that went through America went up there and made their own
No,
village?
they're usually in Halifax, Nova Scotia.
Halifax, that's what I heard, yes.
But Ontario is Toronto especially is one of those cities where there's so many groups, so many people who have come to the area, and you can hear so many languages and cultures, and you can just walk through the world. I tell you, United Nations, you can walk through it. So it's when you're representing Canada at that particular time, you wouldn't see two in that particular team. I think I was the only person of color,
okay.
And on the other team, the Quebec team, I think there was one of color. So we were like, yeah. So it was good,
I see you.
Yeah, I see you, exactly. So, I mean, it was a really wonderful experience. I remember Celine Dion coming through, and we were like, ooh, and, it was really nice. And I remember speaking, having, we had VIPs coming through, so we had to, speak with them. And I remember being very shy because I'm, talking in public always. I'm a little bit shy. And this public was like 500 audiences of 500. So we had to make a speech in front of the IMAX cinema, so in 3 languages. And I never wanted to do it. So I'd always go, you go, and I wouldn't do it. And then one day I said, I have to do this. So I went, started off completely blank, completely forgot. And the people looking at me, and I am looking at them, and I'm like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I can't remember. And then breathe. And then suddenly it came.
It came back, okay.
And then at the end, everybody looked at the film. There was a film on Canada and different provinces and so on. And then afterwards, everybody is walking out, and I was thanking them, and they all said, "Yeah, but you need to study more." But it was really nice. It was in a nice way, And I thought I said, okay, so I'm not perfect, but people want you to succeed, and so maybe on that, use that kind of energy, and it's all right if you make a mistake. It's all right if you forget, but try. Kind of thing. And maybe that kind of idea has always been to try and just be who you are, be authentic and just try, because people are.
So how'd you get here?
So getting to Japan, I think after that experience in Barcelona, I think that kind of opened up. Well, maybe it'd be nice to travel. Maybe it'd be nice to travel.
Now all this time, wait. Now all this time, you're a good-looking young lady. You weren't alone all this time?
Did I have friends?
Did you ever have any friends? Yeah, you had friends. Okay, that's enough. Yeah. That's all they need to know.
I had friends. Not many.
Not many,
but I had friends.
You had a friend. Okay, so okay. All right, good. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Don't let me go back.
Don't let me go too back.
Because then we're going to start. But yeah.
So anyway, so you decided to, you finished that.
Yeah, finished that, came back to Canada, started to work, I can't remember, maybe at that time.
How long were you in Barcelona?
It wasn't very long, I think 6 or 7 months.
Representing?
Ontario. At the World, it was really cool.
How big was the team that came over with you?
I think it was 80. If I remember, but I can't.
80 of you?
Yeah, I think it was 80 of us.
Oh,
because
so
we had
you
all the
weren't
provinces.
alone.
No,
That was nice.
Yeah, not all the provinces.
You just partied all night.
Yes, I remember. Trinidad also had a booth and made everybody dance. I made everybody dance.
That's so nice.
It was really good, really, really good. And we still try to keep in contact a little bit. I mean, everybody's, we now realize, retirement time, kind of thing. But time really flies. But yeah, it was a really good experience. And I think that experience made me think, it would be nice to travel. It nice to experience elsewhere, somewhere else. So came back to Canada, started working again, and I think at that time I was working again with communities, social services, but for I think, how do you say it, hostel for families. So these families, again and again, I met many families from Somalia, quite a number from Somalia. I met from other areas as well, but I always remember the Somalian because we used to have a good time dancing. Afghanistan, the bread that the moms used to make. And, I mean, I was really lucky, really, to be part of this because it was hard. It was hard to see people in distress because there is within that sadness, there is such joy as well when there's a chance to celebrate, whether it's a wedding or whether it was Eid or whatever it was. But so there's always this, I don't know, this balance, I guess, as happy as you can be, that there's sad stories for these families as well. But so I was working there for about 2 years, maybe, I guess 2 or 3 years, and then moved to Japan after that. So got onto the JET program. And the idea with the JET program was when we could choose where we wanted to go, and I wanted to go to somewhere warm because, I've been in Canada.
You say, I've done that.
I've been there, done that. So Hokkaido was not on that list. So I chose Okinawa. Yeah.
Yeah, right. That makes sense. Or some other islands that may not be named.
Exactly. Right. And I said, okay, Yakushima, because I thought that's south. And I said Kagoshima, I think. Kagoshima. Right. So I got Kagoshima, and I said, okay, well, it's the south. And I was all excited. And at that time, I had met Michelle just before coming to getting this accepted on the JET program. So I met Michelle, and I told him, I got this job in Japan, but, what are we going to do? And it's because, the drama all the time, right? So, what are we going to do? And he said, you go. I've always wanted to go to Japan. So you go and I'll come after. Yeah, that I love, I tell you. So in July, this is when usually the JET program was starts in July. So I came over, and then we were in a lovely hotel in Shinjuku, Keio Plaza and stuff like that. It's like really class. Came over in first class, because that was the time when the government could afford the first class. First class. So really exciting. And I got there, red carpet treatment, time to go to our location, which was in Kagoshima. Okay, got on the plane, got to Kagoshima. Okay, heat. Okay, well, I could deal with this. I'm from the Caribbean. I could deal with this. July, all right. Then we started to drive to the location, and we were driving, and we were going into like mountain and valley and river and green, and like, where are we going? Because I was image of Japan, Tokyo, Osaka. It's like, where are we going? Yeah. And then it was, when we did get there, an hour and a half later, from Kagoshima Airport, we were in Izumi. And you don't know where that is, do you? Izumi is in the northern part of Kagoshima Prefecture, not far from Kumamoto. So it's really northern part. And at that time, Izumi didn't have that much, They had the cranes, they still do. It's well known for cranes.
I've been there. I've actually been to Izumi.
It's a beautiful place.
Because I ride my motorcycle all around Japan.
You see?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful place.
Yes.
However, at that time, I was like, where am I? Got to the apartment, stepped into the apartment, and our Kyoko Jibusho, the people from the Board of Education, they were like really cool. They said, no, take the shoes off. And I'm like, okay, all right, so took the shoes off. And then I stepped into the little apartment, and I'm like, okay, where's the bed? Where's that? And they said, okay, well, here you are. This is your these are your keys. Then the ALT, on the JET program, who's next door apartment, who's British, really cool guy. He said, okay, and I'll take you to the office the next day. And I closed the door, and I'm like, what am I going to do in this place? It's not the expectation, because all around, tampo, rice paddies, all around, and it's just this little apartment, and I think there are 4 apartments. And then in front of it was a house, and another little house on the side. So we're in Nishi-Izumi, really, really small. And in front, I think, was the cultural center. So he was the principal of one of the schools that I was going to work at. He lived there with his wife. So we did have somebody, to kind of. But it was tough. So every time I would call to Michelle in France and speak with my father-in-law, because sometimes Michelle wasn't there, and I would be crying on the phone. I don't know what I'm doing here. So it was really tough. And I remember also the rain, I think it's July, August, right? But somehow the little green frogs, Amagairu, I think they're called. I don't know why Amagairu would be there in July, but they were always coming into that apartment.
Hopping in there.
And I was like, I can't take that. I can't take that. And I remember walking to work because there's lots of flora and fauna and all sorts of things going on. So I couldn't ride my bicycle, right? So I walk into work and I remember walking, and as I was walking, quietly on my 2 kilometers little, thing, little snake comes out of one,
And that bothered you?
No, I look at the snake.
Right.
The snake look at me. The snake, both of us. But I saw it. I saw that snake go.
Like that.
And I thought, maybe you're used to seeing.
Right.
It's like, what is that? What is that? So, I mean, it was that kind of thing at the beginning. Then finally I learned how to ride a bicycle. The group up from
They must have had a fun time teaching you how to ride.
Oh, it was just horrible. It was so the Mama-chari on top of it, right?
Yes.
So I'm there with my Mama-chari, and I had to ride to work now. So I could barely ride. Now I'm riding to work. And one day, by this time Michel had come, so he would come and pick me up on this bicycle as well. So we had no car at the time; we just had bicycle. So I was riding off to work, and I guess I must have been a little bit late. And you know the little, you have to hop a little bit on the sidewalk, but I might have missed the little hop. So I think I kind of went like this and then wobble, and as I was wobbling, right there was a rice field.
Oh, and you fell into it.
But it was like this. It was really tall.
Steep,
it was steep. So I
Did you get
flipped
hurt
over. Well, your shame and embarrassment makes you not feel nothing. I didn't feel nothing.
But you messed up yourself?
Of course I did.
Yeah. Really? You broke your shoulder?
Yeah. It was a fractured shoulder. Oh. And then the funny thing about it is that you could see the rice. Fortunately, the rice field was not planted, so it was still in fallow, so it was fine. But you could see my imprint, like of me. Me and the bicycle.
What years are we talking about now? This is the 80s, early 80s?
This was 90s.
90s, okay,
yeah,
in the 90s. Wow.
We came over in 96.
Okay,
yeah.
After the bubble.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we missed the bubble.
You missed the bubble.
We missed the bubble, yeah.
That's a different time.
That's completely different time. So we've only known non-bubble era.
Did you ever leave after that? After you came here, did you go back?
No, not really. Again, it was just...
You guys have been here since then?
Yeah, we've been here since then.
So how long has it been now?
20-something, more than 20-something.
Do you have any plans on going back or anything?
Yes, I think. I mean, as you grow older, you're trying to figure out where you want to be. Where do you want to retire? And I think that for us is our question. Which country? Because we have 3. So, which country do you want to be in? France, Trinidad, or Canada?
Or Canada.
Yeah. So we think about it, and so we have to plan that.
But you started a school here.
Yeah. So we have a school.
And that's been going on for how many years?
Since 2004.
Okay.
We started it
because we'll have Michel on next time, and he'll talk about it.
Yeah. So in Fujisawa we started Soleil Provence.
How many students?
I think right now about 70. I guess we had
70 students.
Yeah.
How many teachers?
3 teachers.
What are the ages?
From 5 to 8. She's now 91, I think. She just turned 91. So from 5 to 91. So it's a long.
You have a woman that's 91 that's learning French.
Yeah, she's our idol. She's our idol. Yeah, she started. I mean, we have several idols because there's another a woman who's in her 70s, I think, who also started to learn so that she could talk with her grandchildren.
That's beautiful.
91, she decided to learn because she has lived many lives. So memories of Paris. So she needs to remember that. And she's beautiful. I mean, really, we're very lucky. We are really, really beautiful students.
Do you ever teach?
I don't teach French. I don't teach at the school, but I do teach at Keio University.
What are you doing at Keio?
Keio University, I started. That's the reason for coming to Fujisawa, actually, or one of the reasons, I guess.
But that's not kind of far from Keio. You mean another campus?
Yes.
What campus is this?
So Shonan Fujisawa campus.
Okay, Shonan, because Fujisawa is a ways out there.
It is. Tell me about it.
My goodness. That's why I was so amazed you came here. But I said I had to sweeten up the pot. I said, okay, breakfast, okay, we got to go.
But yeah, no, but yeah, I mean, as I was working in Kagoshima, and we wanted to stay a little bit longer, so we started to look around to see what opportunities were out there. So I applied for a position at Keio University. At the Shonan Fujisawa campus, there's a junior and senior high school. So I applied for the junior and senior high school, and I was invited to come up for an interview, and then they selected me. So
to teach
in English. That was English that I was teaching. English to returnees and English in the general kind
and
of.
that's what you're doing now.
So
How long have you been there? First of all?
Since 2001.
Wow.
2001.
So 22 years now.
Yeah, 22 years.
See, because once you get a job, it's a year contract.
Yeah.
But they don't let, you're there. You have to do something really bad.
Exactly.
I mean, you really step on a frog or something. No, you have to do something really bad.
Exactly. So 2001, 2004.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Are you the only person of color there?
Now, at the junior and senior high school, I'm not teaching there anymore. So junior and senior high school, I was on a full-time contract, visiting lecturer for 3 years. And then after that, usually you move on to something that's part-time, usually. So I moved on at the university. So I moved from high school completely to university. So there I teach part-time.
No, what Hino? Hiyoshi?
Hiyoshi and Fujisawa.
They have a university in Fujisawa?
Yeah. So the junior and senior high school and university are all on the same Fujisawa campus.
Okay.
Which is
but Hiyoshi's just the university.
But there is also the boys' school that's also on the campus. On Hiyoshi campus, yeah. And then Yagami was next.
What about the one over here in Juban?
Yeah, that's Mita.
No, I mean that's Tengenji.
Yeah.
Right in Tengenji, yeah.
Yeah, right there, right? Not far. That's Mita, but I think where the girls' school. Girls' school isn't far. Keio Girls' School, I think isn't far from there. Yeah.
Wow. So what are you teaching now?
So now I teach sustainability, corporate social responsibility.
That's what it is, sustainability. We were talking about that. I was wondering why you were in sustainability. I didn't get that far. I didn't realize you were at Keio.
Yeah, and that's because...
So how long have you been teaching that?
Since 2003. So when I first started off, I started off with corporate social responsibility and asked the World Bank officials to come over and talk to the students, because I thought, always thinking about how to bring the real world into the classroom, right? And that's how I always think people remember experiences more than theory, and I think it makes more sense. And I'm not really quite theoretical to begin with, so I try to give as much opportunity as possible for the students, either to ask questions, meet people who are much more experts than I am. So that's how I started off with the corporate social responsibility. At that time, I was teaching full-time at the junior and senior high school and part-time at the university. And then once the junior and senior high school finished, then I moved over to university. Yeah.
That is beautiful.
So I teach that. I also teach regular things like presentation, academic writing, and things like that. But I really enjoy the sustainability. And
so you see there being there for a while.
Yeah.
A little bit longer.
Yeah. I assume so. I mean, it's always good. I mean, change is always good. It's always good. So.
That's what we like. That's what we live for.
Yeah.
Before I end the podcast, I always ask this question. Alana, if you could go back in time with the knowledge you have now and talk to the younger Alana, what age would you be and what time would it be when you go back?
I guess.
What advice would you give yourself?
Yeah. I guess younger me, around 14, 15, I think those are pretty formative years. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to try. It's okay not to succeed all the time, but to keep on going. And that's all I think that would be the advice I would give, to younger me. And hang in there.
That's beautiful.
Hang in there.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This has been beautiful. I want to thank all of you for watching this podcast. Make sure you press like and subscribe. And never forget, it's all unknown, so continue to reach for the stars because you're too blessed to be stressed.